Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Immigration Dream. I hope you are doing wonderful on this weekend. So, in today's topic, we are going to talk about the visa recapture. I'm going to run you through some details on how many visas are available to recapture, how many visas we are able to recapture on family base and also on employment base, and where we stand with recapture. So let's begin today's topic. If you are new to this channel, I highly recommend that you like and hit that subscribe button and also the bell icon. That way you get the notification of my latest and greatest videos. I I publish videos very frequently, and so you don't want to miss out on any of the great stuff that I put. Anyway, let's kind of start talking about the visa recapture. So before we actually even talk about the visa recapture, I would like to know why we need to recapture. So let's talk about why we need to recapture. So in order to start that, I would like to take you back 32 years. That is in year 1990. And why I'm saying year 1990? Because in year 1990, uh, American immigration went through a really big reform. So in year 1990, Immigration Act of 1990 was passed. It was one of the biggest immigration reform in the history of USA. And let me walk you through what happened in that. So in 1990, George H.W. Bush, who is a Republican, he became the president of the United States. So we had a Republican president, and then in House as well as in Senate, Democrats had the majority. So since they had Democratic majority, they again went for a big immigration reform. That was in 1990. So what happened? What changed in 1990 is what I'm going to run you through. So overall, before 1990, the legal immigration in the United States, of course, was 270,000 people only, right? So every year there could be only 270,000 people that could come into US, whether it's employment, whether it's family, whether it's relatives, right? It was capped at 270,000. When that bill, the Immigration Act of 1990 was passed, the limit for that was pushed to 675,000 total visas. So more than doubled. So the legal immigration was more than double. So this immigration reform had some clauses that doubled the legal immigration in the United States starting year 1991. One of the clauses that the bill added is that out of the 675K visas, 226K were kept for the legal immigration on the family side. So right now, as you see in our current priority dates, F1A, F2A, F3, F4, all those family-based visas were created, those categories were created in year 1990. Also, on top of that, 140,000 visas, this number looks familiar, right? 140,000 visas were kept for employment-based category, and this was mostly based on the economy at that time. And so that employment-based category was actually divided into 5 different categories: EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5. EB1 was for a person with like a really high skill, person with PhDs, extraordinary ability. So that was kept for EB1 is for extraordinary ability. EB2 was for employment based people with the advanced US degree, and the EB3 was for employment based with no advanced degree. EB4 was for religious worker, and EB5 was for entrepreneurs. So those 5 categories were created again in 1990. Now, and the remaining visas, that is a difference of 140 plus 226 minus 675, those were kept for immediate relatives, right? Like immediate relatives of US citizens. I mean, that number is so high that there is basically like technically no cap, right? So when they gave those 675,000 green cards every year starting 1991, they put some clauses which may have been right at that time. One of the clauses that they put is that they applied per country cap on per country cap on employment based as well as the family based visas. Those were which visas were responsible for the cap, right? So 226 plus 140, they got the per country cap of 7%. And the reason behind that is because at that time they wanted the bill to actually pass, and they wanted some Republican support, and the intentions was right. They want to give fair amount of chance to people from all over the country, all over the world. On top of this, they also instituted a visa called diversity visa for the for the people who are less represented in the United States. So countries like Canada, Mexico, India, China, all those countries where we have more representation, those were excluded from diversity visas. And then the 50,000 per year diversity visas were given starting 1991, and those were 50,000 every year. So that's where all this started, right? After that, law went into place, president signed it, and all these green cards were rightly available after 1991. So 1991 was a big year for the US reform, US immigration reform. After 1991, though, some things that we know right now which did not exist, right? There was no FANG, right? There was no Facebook, Amazon, Apple was there only little, but there was no big tech companies in 1990, right? So basically, software engineering and software technology was at very very early days of growth. So after 1990, so in 1990, U.S. economy was $5 trillion in GDP, and now it has expanded to almost $21 trillion. So economy has actually quadrupled in last 32 years. So US has gone through a great technological advancement. Some great companies came, some companies like Amazon, Tesla, Google, Microsoft, all those big companies, and all this small scale software companies and technology companies, they got created in last 30 years. They needed talent, and so lot of countries like India, China, Philippines, they created lots and lots and lots of engineers and talents, right, to support all this technology. However, what did not change is this numerical limits. So basically, the numerical limits that we are seeing right now is created in 1990, and it has not changed. So in today's video, right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we can do to actually get more green cards based on available laws. So there are some things that we can do currently with available laws, and then there are some things that basically government needs to change, Congress needs to act and change the complete laws to get more green cards. So the first option, right? So the first option is that why in the world USCIS or Department of States calculates the dependents as a part of employment based, right? This is not done in any other categories. For example, if you apply for H-1B visa, right, your spouse is not counted against the H-1B cap. If you apply for L1, your spouse is not counted. I mean, obviously there's no cap for L1, but for H-2B visa, your spouse is not counted against the cap. So why in the world green cards are like adjudicated with your spouse or your kids who have no relationship with the employment counted against the cap? I think the answer is the interpretation of the law. And that's why one of the things that we can do is, one, we can write letter, like very simple letter to our congressman saying, hey, please do not count these dependents against the employment based cap. Give them examples that, hey, for H1B, L1 visa, H2B visa, you are not counting your dependents. So do not count this against green card as well, because those 140K is kept for the employment based people. Companies spend lots of efforts, right? Like they have to advertise it, they have to file perm, they have to do I-140 to get these visas, and those are like really needed people for this country. And so do not waste those very important visas on dependents. Dependents are the part of your family, so please do not consider that. So that's some of the things that we can do in a democracy, is that we can write letters to the congressman and get tell Congress that, hey, do not consider that. So for this reform, we do not need Congress at all. We just need USCIS or Department of State to change the interpretation of the law. I think it is possible. It is actually very much possible, and they have all authority to do it. So if you are watching this video, then type a simple letter. There are so many letters available online. The format is available online. This will help each and every person in a green card queue, whether it's from India or not. It's going to help everybody in the world. And most importantly, it is going to help this wonderful country, because this country needs talent. It already has talent, and this country needs a way to definitely retain it. So that is one way that you can influence USCIS and Department of State and make a request. There is no, if you're watching this video, do that. The second thing is, write a letter to Congress to recapture all the green cards that are wasted in last 32 years. So when this Immigration Act of 1990 was created, they also put a clause that if those green cards are basically not used in that particular year, then they will just get trashed, right? So remember, like, why in the world you make this rule? If you are, if you go to our computer, if you delete something, it goes to recycle bin. And then if you realize that, hey, you made a mistake, or you deleted this by mistake, you can actually get it back, right? But there is no recycle bin in USCIS. There's no USCIS and Department of State, they are basically following the law, and there is no recycle bin in that bill where you can recapture those visas unless Congress votes to recapture those bills. I'm going to make a separate video on details on how many visas that we are able to recapture, but I will give you a very high level. On the employment based, USCIS will, or Department of State will be able to capture almost 250 to 280,000 visas from 280,000, from last 32 years. So 280,000 visas can be captured. And on the family base, that number is even higher. That's about 350,000 visas that were wasted in last 32 years. That's a big number, guys. I mean, imagine if that 250,000 employment-based visas are actually available, then priority date of India will immediately move by 2 to 3 years, and priority date of China will become current for everybody. So that number is very important, guys. So I highly request you that you write a letter to Congressman explaining, hey, how it is important for us to get those green cards, how it is important for this country to keep the people, and then they can easily capture those bill by passing a very simple law saying, hey, these were wasted in last 32 years for these reasons. The reasons were sometimes out of government's control, like pandemic and whatnot. So let's have a provision to just recapture those. Let's not add more numbers, right? Because that will need more participation from more states and more senators. But let's just recapture the numbers that were wasted, and that's still a lot, like a lot high numbers, guys. So do your part, right? Do your part. Let's not just watch this video. Do your part. Write a letter. If you need some help, just ping me in the comments. If you have any more ideas, we have to be creative here, and this is democracy, so everybody needs to be creative here. But anyway, this is it for today's video. In next video, I'm going to make a detailed analysis on the visa recapture for both employment-based and family-based. So stay tuned for that video. But I hope you liked today's video, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then hit that bell icon, hit that subscribe button, and get into Immigration Dream, because this is just not my channel. This is our channel. We are all in this together. Cheers.